Hey rail fans, this is Bob from DeBob's N-Scale Man Cave. I have a treat for you today. I just received these N-Scale Autoracks, tri-level Autoracks from Microtrain's line. They are graffitied in the word steel. So there's 5 in this set, and I'm going to review this today. And hopefully everything goes okay. Here it is. The Microtrain line Steel Graffiti Autorack 5-pack. Just got in the mail. We're going to do a review of this. Inside the package, well, the outside of the package comes in a nice little case. It says MTL, Microtrain's line. It's in a black shelf case. Inside, you can see you got all 5 of the cars painted in the steel words. Comes with a certificate of authenticity, which reads, this unique set contains 5 highly weathered closed auto racks bearing extensive prototypical graffiti covering most of each side of the car. Each car features a single letter in the word steel, and each letter has a yellow border and red accents randomly spaced. All 5 of these cars remained together on the track for a brief time. Some cars were quickly repainted by the railroads, but some are still seen today, among other consists. Let's open it up and see how it looks. Okay, just kind of lift up the tab and slide this thing out of the case. And there you have it, all 5 cars. Let's take out the S. Okay, on one side it has a big old S for steel, and on the other side you have some other kind of graffiti on there. It kind of looks well, pretty good. Now this looks highly detailed. As I said, you got the ribs in the roof of the auto rack. You can actually feel them. So they're actually grooved in there pretty nicely. I like this S. You got a Microtrain's couplers. Obviously, they're made by Microtrains. Got some really close lettering down here. There we go. You see that detail is pretty good. I don't know if you can read the lettering on there, but yeah. As you can see, those ribs right there on the top. You can actually feel those, and you feel the ones on the sides too. It looks pretty accurate. I really like Microtrains for a number of reasons. Well, the couplers are good. They've been around for a really long time as KD couplers for those HO modelers out there, but when they started doing more and more N-scale, they decided to break it out and made a subdivision called Microtrain lines. And they've been doing some really good work for a number of years. I'm not sure how long it's been, but probably 40 plus years making models. The bottom has some pretty good detail. air lines and compressors and brake lines and everything else. You know, the one thing is the couplers aren't attached to the body, but that probably works just fine for these kind of Autoracks in these long cars. That's the S. Let's see if the other ones look any different. Here's the T, and it looks pretty much the same, just different letter. On the back side, they didn't put any graffiti, but there is a TFM label, because that was the manufacturer of the car, or the company that owned it, one of the two. Still got the same ribs. All the cars pretty much the same. A lot of them are yellow. There's one that's a different company, and that's the next one. Okay, here's the E car. It's a Conrail Autorack. As you can see, it looks pretty much the same, just got a big old E on it now. You got some pretty good detail down into all the little layers of the metal in the car, even though this is a plastic model, but it looks like metal. It actually looks like steel. On the back side, there's no graffiti that they put on there. As you can see, it is a Conrail car. Okay, one thing I did notice about this car was one of the trucks seemed a little stiff, like it was pressed in a little bit too tight, and actually this one was a little bit too tight. I may have to loosen this up a little bit to get it to move more freely on the track. I don't want to have a derailment at 7 feet off the ground and take everything with it. That would be bad. Okay, one thing I did notice with the E car is that this truck, you can hear a squeaking. It was rubbing a lot on this area right up here, and this is really tight. What I did notice, if you can see right here, is that there is an overspray. So this truck was right in this position, and they sprayed the bottom gray. So they sprayed the bottom of these trucks with, or the bottom of this car with the trucks installed. There's actually spray paint on these wheels, and I am not sure I like that. I'm not sure why they would have done that, quite frankly. It seems like they wanted to get these knocked out, but didn't think about what's going to happen when you get paint on these moving parts. It didn't roll very well, and when I put it on the track, it derailed on this truck. I'm going to have to clean these up before I can really use them. I'm going to take these off, clean off all the paint, and press it back in there. I shouldn't have to do that, but all in all, it's a pretty good looking car. Okay, here's the second E car, and as you can see, it's pretty much the same as the first two. Probably a different company, it looks like, but there was still yellow paint job on it. On the back side, we have some more graffiti. You can get a little close up of that. And so that looks pretty much the same. The ends look the same, the bottoms are the same. These are a little stiff too, but not as stiff as that other car. You can see the They also did paint the bottom of these, so you can see some of the paint still on the bottom of the wheels. And as they're right in that area, you can see the paint on it. I don't think that was a very good idea to do that, quite frankly, during the manufacturing process. You shouldn't be painting any trucks. Those trucks should be completely black and not painted, so they're free rolling, there's nothing in there. I'm going to have to take all these trucks off, clean them off of all the paint, even the pins, everything, so that everything is free moving again. Because this one doesn't derail, but the other one did. It wouldn't go around a curve, and it would just by itself just freeze up and derail. So I'm not too happy with that, and I wish this was better produced in this case for the money I spent. Suggested retail price somewhere around $200. I paid $175 for these plus shipping. You can get those in a lot of different places. I got mine at modeltrainstuff.com. Actually, it was probably $179. It was $191 with the shipping included. Okay, here's the L car. It is a TFM car, just like the other one was. And I mean, the paint job looks very good. As always, car looks the same on all the other sides. There's no graffiti on the back side of this one. The wheels again are sticky and not very free flowing. In fact, I'll show you what happens when I try to push this car down a level track into a curve. Okay, I'm going to push this L car down this side and see how far it can go, and I've got to push it pretty hard. It hits that curve and stops. My other Autorack, made by Concor, it would go off the edge of that track. It would just keep on going. Rolls nice and smooth on that one. These do not roll at all with that painting on the trucks. If I just go a little bit like that, it stops. I mean, I had to push it really hard. I mean, like this, it just doesn't roll because it binds on that wheel. And this is a flat and level board right here. This should go all the way around. It's kind of like, and there we have it. A little bit more light. It's on the curve. Looks pretty good. Okay, there you have it. That is the microtrain lines tri-level Autorack steel set review. And one of the things that really stood out for me is that when they created the paint job on the bottom of each car, they painted the bottom of the car with the trucks installed, which put overspray on top of the trucks and down into the mechanisms of the wheels so that they would bind, so that the whole truck wouldn't turn on its pivot point on that pin that mounts it to the bottom. The couplers are actually not black, they're painted gray, and so they got that gray overspray on them, and it really doesn't look right. You know, I showed an example of one of the cars just rolling down the track, and it would barely roll, and it would just stop once it hit a corner because it was too stiff to turn around it. So my other Autorack that I have just rolls right by it. Other than that aspect of them painting the bottom with the trucks installed, this is a really nice set. There's some very good detail on it. They were a custom painted set that was in, you know, reality somewhere out there in the world, where someone saw this whole set put together and says, I can take pictures of this, send it in. This is very unique. And they stayed together for quite a while in a set, and then they eventually got broken apart and some of them got repainted. What I paid for this set, I shouldn't have to take the trucks off and clean them. I shouldn't have to do that maintenance with the kind of money I spent on paying for this set, thinking this was great. Micro Train Lines usually is very good at what they do. In this case, it's a letdown. Let's just put it mildly. I give this probably 4 stars out of 5. That 5th star, you know, definitely would have been there if the wheels would turn and it rolled freely on the track. Well, train fans, this is Bob from DeBob's N-Scale Man Cave. And until next time, we'll have another review or an update on my layout. Till next time, bye. Okay, update on these trucks. The problem with them sticking isn't the paint. It was the center pin that mounted the truck onto the car. When I pulled this pin off and took the trucks off, this moved a lot easier. As you can see on both sides, they're a lot easier. When I took the pin out, when I examined the pin itself, the part that the truck rotates on, which is the thicker part of it right underneath the head that holds it on, that, when it was pressed in to the car, got wedged in there somehow and caused the plastic to be pushed up and wedged up on the inside of the shaft. So it made the shaft thicker, which basically locked the truck from being able to turn freely. Other than that, all I had to do is take the pin, hold it in some forceps, and I took an X-Acto knife or some other sharp razor blade kind of thing and shaved down toward the smaller part to basically shave off that piece that got folded up. And once I did that and put it back in, as you can see, it folded right back up, and I didn't fold back up, it loosened up the truck and made that shaft the same diameter as it should have been. So once I shaved all that off, put it back together, it was fine. What you do have to do is probably clean off the wheels, because there may be some paint on the wheel itself that touches your rail. I just used a fingernail or a little screwdriver and just kind of turned the wheel and scraped it with my thumb. And put your fingernail in there and just kind of roll it around like that. And that's what I did. Other than that, you can use probably some rubbing alcohol and clean off the rails, or if you have another scratchy surface kind of truck wheel cleaner, you can use that as well. Other than that, update, I am increasing my star rating, so to speak, that I put in earlier as a 4 up to a 4.75. That 0.25 is because I had to take it apart because the quality assurance messed up and didn't catch the fact that they had messed up the pin. Other than that, it's a very good car. And the top comes off just like that. You really can't do much with it. It's just there, but there's this hard plastic piece on the inside of it that holds all the sides together. The sides pull away from the centerpiece, and these decals will slide out. So you pretty much start tearing apart your car, and you really don't want to do that, because It's not the greatest thing to do to a nice car like this, but it just snaps back on the cover, and you're ready to go again.